The vast hall of the Centaurian Empire glowed with blue light. Hundreds of aliens from all corners of the galaxy gathered for the annual diplomatic summit. Most wore fine clothes that showed their high rank. In the corners stood 5 humans in simple dark uniforms, looking out of place among the colorful crowd. Commander Hannah Park took a deep breath. This was her first mission as Earth's representative. She smoothed her uniform and checked that her translation device was working properly. Nervous, asked her second-in-command, Lieutenant Tay. A little, Hannah admitted. The Empire hasn't exactly welcomed us with open arms. Tay nodded. 3 of our mining colonies reported Imperial ships taking their resources last month. We need this meeting to go well. A tall alien with silver skin approached them. The Emperor will see the human delegation now, he announced, his voice cold. Hannah and her team followed him through the crowd. Other species moved aside, some watching with curiosity, others with clear disdain. The humans had only joined the galactic community 30 years ago, making them newcomers in a society where most species had been spacefaring for thousands of years. The grand throne room stretched before them. Emperor Day sat on a floating crystal seat, surrounded by his advisors. His skin was pale blue and his 6-fingered hands rested on ornate armrests. Admiral June stood at his right side, wearing a military uniform covered with medals. Ah, the humans arrive at last, Emperor Day announced loudly as they approached. His voice carried through the room without any amplification. Come forward, little ones. Hannah walked to the designated spot and bowed as instructed in her diplomatic briefing. Emperor Day, we bring greetings from Earth and our colonies. We seek to establish better relations between our peoples. The Emperor leaned forward. Tell me, Commander Park, what innovations have your young species brought to share? Perhaps you finally mastered basic gravity manipulation? Or have you at least figured out how to make your ships travel faster than a Mercurian slug? Laughter rippled through the court. Admiral June didn't laugh, but his lips curved into a smirk. Hannah kept her expression neutral. We have much to learn, Emperor. But Earth has made significant advances in medical sciences and sustainable agriculture that we would be happy to share. Medical science? Emperor Day repeated mockingly. How quaint. Your species still suffers from natural diseases, does it not? My kind eliminated such concerns millennia ago. More laughter. Hannah noticed Lieutenant Tay's jaw tightening beside her. We seek only peaceful relations and fair trade agreements, Hannah replied evenly. Our frontier colonies would benefit from imperial protection against piracy. The Emperor waved one 6-fingered hand dismissively. Protection requires resources. What would we gain from this arrangement? You have nothing we need. Our scientists have developed new methods for extracting rare minerals without. Your mining techniques are primitive at best, interrupted Admiral June. We've observed your colonies. You struggle to survive on planets we would consider uninhabitable. Emperor Day nodded. The Admiral speaks truth. Your colonies barely survive on our frontier. Be grateful we allow you to exist at all. Hannah felt a flash of anger but kept her voice calm. With respect, Emperor, those planets were unclaimed when we established our settlements. We have followed all interstellar law. Laws created by species worthy of making them, the Emperor replied. His eyes narrowed. Remember your place, Commander. Your species is young and weak. The Empire has existed for 10,000 years. We could remove your settlements tomorrow if we wished. A heavy silence fell over the room. The threat hung in the air, barely disguised as political talk. I hope it doesn't come to that, Hannah said carefully. Earth seeks friendship, not conflict. The Emperor laughed. Conflict? There would be no conflict. Merely, pest control. The court erupted in laughter again. Hannah's team stood rigid, faces carefully blank despite the insult. You are dismissed, Emperor Day said with a wave. My advisor will discuss the new taxation rates for your colonies. As the human delegation left the palace, Hannah's communication device buzzed. She checked the message and her face darkened. What is it? Lieutenant Tay asked. New Terra Colony reports Imperial ships entered their space yesterday. They've taken all the processed titanium. 3 colonists were injured when they protested. Tay's eyes flashed with anger. That's the 4th incident this month. They're not even trying to hide their theft anymore. Hannah looked back at the gleaming palace. They don't think we can stop them. To them, we're just another primitive species to exploit until we either die out or become useful servants. What do we do now? Asked Tay. Hannah's expression hardened. We report back to Earth. The Security Council needs to know that diplomacy isn't working. It's time for Plan B. Retry SF. The military shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, its windows darkened to prevent anyone from seeing the passengers inside. Commander Hannah Park sat quietly, reviewing the report of Imperial harassment against New Terra Colony. The Emperor's mockery still burned in her mind 3 days later. We're approaching the facility, the pilot announced. Hannah looked up as the shuttle slowed and began to descend into what appeared to be an ordinary mountain range. As they got closer, a section of the mountainside slid open, revealing a hidden landing bay. I was told this place didn't exist, Hannah said. General Min, who had remained silent during most of the journey, finally spoke. Officially, it doesn't. The shuttle landed smoothly inside the mountain. When the doors opened, Hannah found herself in an enormous underground facility. Hundreds of people in military and scientific uniforms moved purposefully through the space. Welcome to Project Warp Step, said General Min, Earth's answer to Imperial aggression. They walked through security checkpoints where their identities were verified multiple times. Finally, they entered a large war room with a holographic display in the center. Several high-ranking military officers and scientists were already waiting. Commander Park, General Min addressed the room. Has just returned from the diplomatic mission to the Empire. As expected, they continue to treat us as inferior beings. A woman in a lab coat stepped forward. I'm Dr. Jean, she said. Chief Scientist of Project Warp Step. I believe it's time we showed you what we've been working on. Dr. Jean activated the holographic display. A 3-dimensional image of a sleek spacecraft appeared, unlike any design Hannah had seen before. It doesn't look like our usual ships, Hannah observed. Because it's not, Dr. Jean smiled. 5 years ago, we discovered a new approach to faster-than-light travel. Not through hyperspace lanes like the Empire uses, but through something entirely different. The hologram changed to show the ship's internal systems. At its core was a glowing blue device. The warp core, Dr. Jean explained. It doesn't bend space or create wormholes. Instead, it temporarily shifts the ship into another dimension where distance doesn't exist as we understand it, then returns it to normal space at the chosen coordinates. You mean, teleportation? Hannah asked, eyes widening. Exactly, said General Min. Instant travel from one point to another. No detectable approach. No warning. Hannah stared at the hologram. The Empire's defense systems would be useless, Dr. Jean finished. They monitor all known hyperspace lanes and jump points. But our ships would simply appear, with no prior indication. How many ships do we have with this technology? Hannah asked. General Min touched the display controls. The hologram zoomed out to reveal not one ship, but dozens, perhaps 50 or more vessels of varying sizes. We began building them 3 years ago, he said. In secret facilities on the far side of the moon and in the asteroid belt. The Empire doesn't consider us worth monitoring closely. Their arrogance has worked in our favor. Hannah walked around the display, studying the fleet. Does it work? Have you tested it? In response, Dr. Jean brought up another display showing video footage. A small test ship hovered in space near Jupiter. Then it simply vanished. Another camera showed the same ship appearing instantly near Pluto. The longest jump we've tested was to Proxima Centauri and back, Dr. Jean said. 5 light-years in less than a second. Hannah felt her heart racing. This technology would change everything. The Empire's military advantage had always been their control of hyperspace lanes and their faster ships. With teleportation, none of that mattered. Why wasn't I informed of this before the diplomatic mission? Hannah asked. Security, General Min replied. Only 12 people knew the full scope of the project until today. We couldn't risk the Empire finding out. President Su entered the room. Everyone stood at attention. Commander Park, the president said. I've read your report on the Imperial reception. It seems diplomacy has failed. Yes, Madam President, Hannah confirmed. The Empire has no respect for us. They see our attempts at diplomacy as weakness. President Su nodded gravely. That's why I've authorized bringing you into Project Warp Step. We need to decide our next move. The Empire continues to raid our colonies, and now they've begun making direct threats. What are our options? Hannah asked. We could reveal our technology during the next diplomatic meeting, General Min suggested. Use it as leverage to negotiate better terms. Or, President Su said carefully, we could demonstrate it more convincingly. Hannah looked again at the fleet of ships in the hologram. How long until they're ready for deployment? They're ready now, Dr. Jean answered. We've been training crews in secret for months. The ships are fully operational. President Su turned to Hannah. Commander Park, I'm promoting you to Admiral. You'll lead the warp fleet. Your experience with the Empire makes you the ideal choice. Hannah looked around at the expectant faces, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. The Empire mocked us, she said quietly. They called us weak. Primitive. They've stolen from us and threatened our people. She looked at the fleet again, her expression hardening. I think it's time they learned how wrong they are. The emergency alert sounded throughout Earth's Security Council chamber. Recently promoted Admiral Hannah Park hurried to her seat as the large screen on the wall flickered to life. The faces around the table were grim. This transmission came in 10 minutes ago, said Defense Minister Khan, his voice tight with concern. The screen showed a scene of chaos. New Terra, one of Earth's largest colonies, was under attack. Buildings burned in the background as a young woman with dirt on her face spoke urgently into the camera. This is Governor Yuna of New Terra. Imperial warships entered our atmosphere without warning. They're taking everything, our food supplies, our fuel cells, our medical equipment. People who tried to stop them were shot. We have at least 20 dead, many more injured. Please send help. The transmission shook as an explosion sounded nearby. Then the screen went black. That was 3 hours ago, Minister Kong said. We've received similar reports from 4 other colonies. The Empire is no longer simply stealing resources. They're taking control of our settlements. The room fell silent. For years, humanity had endured the Empire's mockery and small-scale theft, trying to maintain peace. This was different. We need to deploy the fleet, General Min said, looking at President Su. Before the president could respond, the screen lit up again. This time, it showed the familiar face of Admiral June from the Imperial fleet. His expression was smug. People of Earth, he began, speaking slowly as if addressing children. The Emperor has grown tired of your colonies cluttering our frontier. Your primitive settlements waste valuable resources that could better serve the Empire. Hannah's hands clenched into fists under the table. You have 24 hours to announce your complete surrender, Admiral June continued. All your colonies will come under direct Imperial control. Your ships will be confiscated. Your military disbanded. He leaned closer to the camera. If you refuse, we will demonstrate the true power of the Empire. Your main colony worlds will be bombarded from orbit. Then we will come for Earth itself. The transmission ended. The room erupted in angry voices. They can't be serious, exclaimed Economic Advisor G. They are, Hannah said firmly, causing others to fall silent. I've met Admiral June. He doesn't make empty threats. Our conventional forces can't stop them, General Min added. The Imperial fleet outguns us 10-1. President Su stood up slowly. She looked tired but determined. Then it's time to use what they don't know about. She turned to Hannah. Admiral Park, I'm authorizing the deployment of Project Warp Step. How quickly can your fleet be ready? The ships are ready now, Hannah replied. We've been running simulations while completing crew training. We can deploy within 6 hours. The president nodded. Do it. But remember, our goal is peace, not revenge. We want to stop this aggression, not start a war we can't finish. Understood, Madam President, Hannah said. As the meeting ended, Hannah's communication device showed a new alert. She tapped the screen and felt her blood run cold. What is it? Asked General Min, noticing her expression. Imperial fleet movements, Hannah said. They're not waiting for our answer. Warships are already moving into position around all our major colony worlds. And Earth? 5 Imperial destroyers have just entered the outer solar system, Hannah confirmed. They'll reach Earth's orbit in 18 hours. General Min's expression darkened. They're so confident we can't fight back that they're not even bothering to wait for the deadline. They think we'll surrender rather than watch our colonies burn, Hannah said. 2 hours later, Hannah stood on the bridge of the flagship Lightning Strike, the most powerful vessel in the new human fleet. Around her, 50 crew members worked at their stations, preparing for humanity's first true space battle. All ships report ready, Admiral, said Lieutenant Tay, now her executive officer. Through the viewscreen, Hannah could see the other ships of the warp fleet in formation above the moon base. They looked small compared to Imperial warships, but their power lay in technology the Empire couldn't imagine. Send to all ships, Hannah ordered. Operation First Strike will commence in 30 minutes. Primary targets are Imperial command vessels only. No unnecessary destruction. Lieutenant Tay hesitated. Admiral, permission to speak freely? Go ahead. The Empire wouldn't show us such restraint. They're planning to bomb civilian targets. Hannah nodded. I know. But we're not them. We don't need to destroy their worlds to win this fight. We just need to show them they can't bully us anymore. On the main screen, sensor readings showed the positions of Imperial ships throughout nearby space. They were spread thin, confident in their superior technology and numbers. They have no idea what's coming, Lieutenant Tay observed. Hannah checked the final mission details on her tablet. The first wave would target Admiral Jun's flagship and the Imperial Defense Network simultaneously. If all went according to plan, the Empire would find its military advantage neutralized in seconds. Signal the fleet, Hannah said. Prepare for warp jump on my mark. As the countdown began, Hannah thought of the Emperor's mocking laughter, of Admiral Jun's smug face, of burning human colonies. Time to show them what humans can really do, she murmured. Admiral Jun stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Imperial Fist, watching the tactical display with satisfaction. The red dots representing Imperial warships surrounded each human colony world. 5 of his most powerful destroyers were already approaching Earth's solar system. Status report, he demanded. All ships in position, Admiral, his first officer replied. Earth's defenses remain inactive. No significant ship movements detected. Jun smiled. The humans were smarter than he'd given them credit for. They knew resistance was pointless. Soon the Emperor would add their worlds to his collection, and humans would join the long list of species serving the Empire. Any response to our ultimatum? He asked. None, Admiral. Their communication channels show increased activity, but they haven't sent any official reply. They're probably arguing among themselves, Jun said with a laugh. Some will want to fight, others to surrender. In the end, fear will win. He walked to the viewport and looked out at the stars. The human colony New Terra was visible below, its lights twinkling on the night side of the planet. Soon those settlements would belong to the Empire. Sir, his sensor officer suddenly shouted. I'm detecting something strange. Jun turned. Explain. Energy readings, there. The officer's voice faltered as he stared at his screen in confusion. Sir, unknown vessels. They're appearing everywhere. What do you mean appearing? June demanded. Where did they come from? They didn't come from anywhere, sir. They just materialized. All at once. Hundreds of them. The tactical display changed dramatically. Blue dots representing unidentified ships were suddenly present throughout Imperial space. 3 had appeared directly above the Imperial throne world. 5 more surrounded June's own flagship. Impossible. June shouted. Check your sensors. Sensors confirmed, Admiral. The ships are real. They've appeared simultaneously across our territory. No warp signatures, no hyperspace entries. The communication officer spoke next. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from one of the unknown vessels. On screen, June ordered, his voice tight with anger and confusion. The screen lit up, showing a face June recognized immediately. Admiral Hannah Park of Earth sat in what appeared to be the command chair of an advanced vessel. Admiral June, she said calmly. Perhaps we should discuss the terms of your surrender. June's face darkened with rage. What trickery is this? How did you bypass our defenses? No trickery, Hannah replied. Simply technology you didn't believe humans could develop. While your empire was busy mocking us, we were building a teleportation fleet. Teleportation? June repeated in disbelief. That's theoretically impossible. And yet, here we are, Hannah gestured around her. My flagship, the Lightning Strike, is currently positioned directly above your own vessel. Similar ships are now in position throughout Imperial space. The tactical officer interrupted. Admiral June. The unknown vessels are deploying smaller craft. They're teleporting directly into our command centers. Reports began flooding in from across the Empire. Human strike teams had appeared inside Imperial bases, warships, and defense installations. They were disabling weapons systems with precision strikes, without causing any casualties. Stop this at once. June demanded. Why? Hannah asked. You threatened to bomb our colonies. You called it demonstrating the true power of the Empire. Now we're demonstrating something to you. On the secondary display, June watched in horror as the defenses of the Imperial throne world went offline one by one. 3 human ships hovered above the Imperial palace itself, untouched by the planet's supposedly impenetrable shields. What do you want? June asked, his voice quieter now. The immediate withdrawal of all Imperial forces from human space, Hannah replied. The return of all stolen resources. Formal recognition of human sovereignty. And reparations for the damage you've caused. The Emperor will never agree to this, June said, though his confidence was clearly shaken. The Emperor will agree when he sees his defenses have been neutralized without firing a single shot, Hannah said. Our strike teams have disabled your weapons, not destroyed them. No one has been killed. Yet. She leaned forward. Unlike you, we don't target civilians. We don't bomb colonies. We're giving you a chance to end this peacefully. The sensor officer's voice shook as he reported, Admiral, human ships have appeared in orbit around every major Imperial world. They've disabled planetary defenses on 17 core worlds. Our fleets are surrounded. June stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The Empire's military advantage, built over thousands of years, had vanished in minutes. 24 hours, Hannah said. That's how long you gave us to surrender. We're giving you the same courtesy. Stand down your forces and prepare to negotiate, or we'll be forced to take more permanent measures. The screen went dark. June slumped into his command chair, staring at the tactical display showing human ships throughout Imperial space. Send a message to the Emperor, he said quietly. Tell him the humans have technology we didn't anticipate. And recommend immediate diplomatic engagement. Outside the viewport, the lightning strike hung silently in space, a symbol of humanity's unexpected leap forward. The Empire's great fleet, once so threatening, now seemed obsolete by comparison. The Imperial Palace gleamed under the light of 3 moons. 1 week after the human fleet's surprise appearance, Emperor Day sat on his crystal throne, his face lacking its usual arrogance. Before him stood Admiral Hannah Park, representing Earth. Around them, delegates from 30 species watched in stunned silence. "The terms are non-negotiable," Hannah stated, her voice clear and firm. "Recognition of human sovereignty. The immediate return of all colonies. Full reparations for damages caused by Imperial forces." Emperor Day's 6-fingered hands tightened on the armrests of his throne. "These demands are extreme." "They're fair," Hannah countered. "Your forces attacked civilian settlements. Your ships stole our resources for years. You threatened to bomb our worlds." The Emperor glanced nervously at the viewport where 3 human ships hovered, visible above the palace. Their sudden appearance throughout Imperial space had shocked everyone. No defenses had detected them. No weapons could target them. "Very well," Emperor Day said finally. He took the document that detailed the peace treaty. His hands trembled slightly as he pressed his seal into it. "The Empire recognizes Earth and all human colonies as sovereign territory." A murmur ran through the gathered delegates. For thousands of years, the Empire had only expanded. This was the first time it had been forced to withdraw. "Let it be recorded," the Emperor announced, his voice strained, "that the Centaurian Empire and the Human Alliance are now at peace." After the ceremony, Hannah walked through the palace gardens. Small groups of delegates whispered as she passed. Some looked fearful, others curious. A tall delegate with green skin approached her. "Admiral Park," he said, bowing slightly. "I represent the Altair Federation. For 3 centuries, the Empire has occupied our homeworld. We wish to discuss a possible alliance with Earth." Throughout the day, similar conversations took place. Species that had suffered under Imperial rule now saw humans as potential liberators. By evening, representatives from 15 different worlds had requested meetings with human diplomats. As Hannah prepared to return to her ship, a familiar figure stepped out of the shadows. Admiral June, no longer wearing his Imperial uniform, stood before her. "Admiral Park," he said stiffly. "May I speak with you privately?" Hannah nodded, and they walked to a quiet corner of the garden. "The Emperor has removed me from command," June said. His proud posture was gone, replaced by uncertainty. "I'm not surprised," Hannah replied. "You led the fleet that threatened Earth." "I followed orders," June said. Then, more quietly, "But I also believed what I was told about humans. That you were primitive. Weak." He looked up at the human ships visible in the sky. "I was wrong. What will you do now?" Hannah asked. June hesitated. "The Imperial military has no place for failed commanders. I came to request asylum. On Earth, or one of your colonies." Hannah's eyebrows rose in surprise. "You want to live among humans?" "I want to understand how we misjudged you so badly," June admitted. "Your technology is beyond anything we thought possible. Your tactics were perfect." He paused. "I always suspected humans had potential. Your species doesn't accept limitations the way others do." 2 days later, Hannah stood on the observation deck of the lightning strike as it prepared to return to Earth. Below, the Imperial capital city sprawled across the landscape, its lights beginning to twinkle in the gathering dusk. Lieutenant Tay joined her at the viewport. "The last of the diplomatic team is aboard. We're ready to depart." "Good," Hannah said. "And the representatives from the other worlds?" 12 ships are traveling back with us," Tay confirmed. "They're eager to establish formal relations with Earth." Hannah nodded. In just 1 week, humanity's position in the galaxy had transformed completely. The teleportation technology had changed everything. Already, plans were being made for peaceful uses of the system: rapid medical transport, emergency relief for disaster zones, and instant delivery of supplies to distant colonies. Did you ever imagine this? Tay asked. When we stood in the Emperor's court, being mocked and laughed at? No, Hannah admitted. I just wanted the Empire to leave our colonies alone. She looked out at the stars. I never wanted Earth to become a power like the Empire. We're not like them, Tay said firmly. The Empire rules through fear and force. We disabled their weapons without taking a single life. As the ship prepared to teleport back to Earth, Hannah thought about the future. Humanity had never wanted to rule the galaxy. They had simply wanted to exist in peace. Now, they found themselves at the center of a new alliance of worlds, looking to them for leadership. Send a message to President Sue, Hannah said. Tell her that the treaty is signed, and we're returning with representatives from 12 worlds seeking alliance. And Admiral June? Tell her we have one refugee seeking asylum. A former Imperial Admiral who wants to learn another way of living. The lightning strike vanished from Imperial space, returning instantly to Earth orbit. Behind it came the ships of new allies, ready to build something better than an empire, a galaxy where technology served peace, not conquest.